as well. So let's kind of jump right into the reporting that's available in the new social analytics section of the site of Google Analytics. You'll notice along the left-hand rail, or as you log into Google Analytics in the new version 5, which by default you will log into. On the left-hand rail, all your reports are available, and down in the traffic sources, which is just under advertising, you'll see that there's a new social subsection. And if you haven't gone into Google Analytics in a few weeks, you may recall that there used to be a little tiny social subsection in the audience section, which is no longer there. So all of your data is in one place now. It's all in the traffic sources area of the site. That's where all your social information is. And I've included a few definitions here, or some more descriptions about what's in each of these different reporting areas, and straight from Google. And we're going to dig into each one and drill into each one and what they mean as we go through here. So let's go ahead and jump in. The first one we want to talk about is pretty significant and exciting, and this is the overview. And by the way, you may notice in the lower left corner of the slide, I've included just a smaller snapshot, kind of a legend of where we're at in the reporting navigation. So if you're following along in the interface or want to know where you can find this, it'll be easy for you. Just note that this is in the traffic sources, and you can see the red circle around overview. So we're on the overview report, and that continues out through the rest of this presentation, through social analytics, and then also through content experiments as well. So what are we looking at here? This is really goes to that conversation we with the CEO or the CFO or the president of what are we getting from our social media efforts. What is it really leading to? Is it, are we getting conversions? Are we getting transactions, etc.? So what you have in the big circle with about 7,400 conversions or so and $500,000 is the kind of the total universe of conversions on the site for this, for this date range. And then within that, you can see how social has attributed and contributed to that number. So if you look down at the next number, in this case, there's more assisted conversions than last interaction. So the next number is 148 assisted conversions. And you'll see that that led to like $10,400 in revenue or goal value. And then last interaction, social conversions was 117. So let's spend a minute to just kind of talk about those two things. Assisted social conversion is exactly that. It's basically somebody that came to your website via a social channel, so Facebook, Google+, etc. And on that visit, when they came from that social network, they didn't necessarily convert. They didn't buy anything. They didn't download anything. They didn't, look at 10 pages or whatever your goals are for your traffic. That did not happen. And then, of course, what did happen, though, is on a subsequent visit. Let's say they later, a week later, they went to Google after coming to your website via Facebook, etc. A week later, they went to Google and searched for blue widgets, and your company came up and like, oh, I remember them. I saw them on Facebook. They click on the link and your organic listing, and they make a purchase. So that is an assisted conversion, so to speak. So they interacted with your social media content. They came to the website via social media, and then not on that visit, but on another visit, they made a purchase. The last interaction is exactly that. Before they made a purchase or converted, they came directly from a social source. They came from, Twitter or whatever it might be, and did what you'd like them to do on the site. So they actually converted on that last visit. But again, you can see that how this starts to put together the information for you. And previously, if you had tagged, used event tracking and some other things, and you could start to get a feel for some of this, or piece together from your traffic sources. You could get an idea of it, but it's so nice having it all in one place, and it's something that really starts to answer those questions about the value of social media. So it's something that, of course, is exciting to us in the analytics field. So moving on to the next report, you can see from the lower left corner that now we're in the sources report. really what you have here is exactly that, the source of the traffic as far as it relates to social media. So you have Facebook, WordPress, etc. The number of visits and some other metrics that relate to their their impact to your social traffic. So again, nice to have it in all one place. And this isn't anything particularly new. It's information that you could find in the past. You may notice on the top, however, activity stream is one of the options in this tab. It's a multi-tab report. So you have social referral or activity stream. So this is groundbreaking. This is brand new stuff and something that was not available previously. In the past, if you saw a spike from Facebook or something, or from Google Plus, let's say, for example, and you saw the traffic peak up, but in order to really understand why, you'd have to go to Google Plus and take a look and try to figure it out and put the pieces together. In this case, we actually have it right here from within the analytics tool. So you can actually look at the conversations that are taking place from these sources. And that is exciting. That is very exciting. So now you have right here, you can see what kind of things are being discussed about your brand, your product, etc., and why that spike in traffic occurred, etc. So again, new powerful information from the activity stream. So let's talk a little bit more about that as well. You may have noticed previously when I showed you the different networks or sources that were available that some of them have these interesting little icons next to them that I've circled in red here. And really what that means is that network is in the Google Social Data Hub. So the Social Data Hub, you see a list of them below here. There's a lot of Google properties in there and some others. And we expect more to be added as well. There's no real timetable for that. But this is an open protocol. Google's published it for anybody that wants to kind of apply that does have a social network. And if you see this icon, this strange little Social Data Hub icon from within your reports, just know that you can get this information. You can get the activity stream straight from those channels without having to do a lot of research. So when your boss asks you, why traffic is up so much from Google Plus, you'll be able to answer that question pretty quickly. And then also to understand, is that a good thing? Of course it's a good thing. All traffic's good, but also to understand what the conversations are about. And for monitoring your brand, etc., this is that's exciting as well. But also, the power of this really is it lets you replicate things. If something's working, we know what it is, and we can duplicate that. And that's really where the power is as well. So let's move on from that. Let's move to the next section of this social area of reporting, and that's really the pages report. So this is again talking about duplication. This is very, very powerful because if you think about that broader definition that I talked about earlier of social media, where it really is kind of anywhere that your content is shared online, doesn't necessarily have to be a social network, etc. This answers the question in terms of what people are sharing. So these are URLs that are out there coming to your website, and again, the power here is that if there is content that's out there that people are interested and engaged with or linking to, well, guess what? It might be time for a phase 2 or a second edition of that content or a refresh, etc., so that you can duplicate that stream of content and actually get that information out there so that you're getting more links back to your site, which has SEO benefits, etc. So right here you can see the URLs that are shared out there online and what they are. And let's just kind of pick one out here and try to figure out what's happening, which is the power of analytics. And like any other report in Google Analytics or most other reports in Google Analytics, when you've got blue there, that hyperlink, you can actually drill down further and understand what's happening on these pages. Why did we get 78 visits for this particular blog post? Well, what happened and how we can leverage this. So if you drill down to that, you can actually see, as we talked about before, the conversations that are taking place online in the network. So in this case, somebody was looking for some rudimentary information about Google Analytics cookies, and somebody responded with a link to our website because someone didn't know what was going on. So very interesting and powerful, again, because you can see all that popular content and then replicate that. The other thing that you'll notice here is that you also have events in addition to conversations. Not everything in social media is a conversation. Sometimes somebody just uses a bookmarking tool, etc. So you can also see the events that took place if somebody added it to Reddit or saved it to read it later, etc. So those are it helps you understand how people are engaging with your content. Next report within the social subsection is really the conversions report, which we saw graphically previously when we looked at the big circles. But this actually gives you a little bit more information as far as how the different sources are performing. In this case, in this particular profile, you can see that number one, LinkedIn, does very, very well. There's not only a lot of last interaction conversions, which are important, but also a lot of assisted conversions. People that come through that channel and find this website are very engaged, and it's very effective use of time. Some others, maybe they're not quite as effective, and maybe they don't constitute, if you have to prioritize what you're working on, maybe it's not YouTube in this case. Maybe it's finding ways to leverage LinkedIn. What are we doing in LinkedIn today, and how can we do more of it? Because this is obviously working. And then conversely, how we can start to look at Facebook. Why isn't, what is our approach in Facebook that isn't working, and how do we need to change this? So very powerful information here to help you really grow your business. The next thing I really want to look at and talk about is the next section of the reporting, which is social plugins. And this really, we spent a lot of time to this point talking about where your content was shared and how people were discussing it, etc. offline, which again is great information, but it's also important to kind of fill in the picture and know that the people that come to your website, where are they sharing their content, your content from? And this is really what this is. The social entity in this social plugin section, really this is where your track social and your share this and add this come into play. This tells you which content they're sharing. So in this case, I've just included a few pages from our site. And people are interacting with the homepage, of course, but a few other articles, etc. And that's really good to know, again, because as you look at this over time into what people are engaged with, if it's just your brand or which particular aspects of your content on your website are important and people find valuable enough to share with their friends, business partners, etc., then again you can duplicate that. As you go further into this report and look at the social source, you can understand with what channels they're engaged with. So we just looked at what pages that they're sharing. Now we can see kind of what channels. Is it Facebook, Twitter, Google+, etc. And this is good as well because it can help you fine-tune what bookmarks you have on or what icons you have on your site. And also where you may want to spend more time from a social media perspective. The social source and action, if you use a bookmarking tool like Add This or Share This, there's a lot of different ways that you can customize and integrate the tool. You may be able to like or unlike your Facebook. You may be able to just view it. You may want to print, share, email, all those things. So this helps you understand, how, for Google+, are they just +1ing, or are they actually, viewing my presence on Google+? So this helps you drill down a little bit more and understand, what's happening. If somebody's constantly doing a printed version, then it's important to have good, printer-friendly things.